Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Bad news for the Russians. It seems like they are ordering or at least advising the population to retreat, leave certain areas because the Ukrainian army might come over and succeed in reoccupying or liberating these territories. And that's not good news because once you have that happen, you know there are certain detachments that are their job, they're tasked with clearing certain things up, if you know what I mean, knocking at doors, grabbing people, taking them out of the town and talk to them forever and never return. That's a practice that occurred many times before, and I don't see why that will not be used in the current events, since we're talking about humans here. We're not talking about something special, humans. This article comes from Republic World and it's from October 23rd. Russian authorities advise civilians to leave Ukraine region. Russian installed authorities in Ukraine told all residents of the city of Kherson to leave immediately Saturday after an unexpected advance by Ukrainian troops waging a counteroffensive to recapture one of the first urban areas Russia took after invading the country. That's a negative development for a lot of people and positive for others. Russian installed authorities, yes, they say in the post on Telegram messaging services, the pro-Kremlin regional administration strongly urged civilians to use boat crossing over a major river to more deeper into Russian-held territory, citing a tense situation on the front and the threat of shelling and alleged plans for, quote-unquote, terror attacks by Kiev. So where are they supposed to go? Imagine you, right? Where are you supposed to go? You have relatives somewhere in Russia to go over there from Ukraine. Remember, that was part of Ukraine. Where are you going to go? And for how long? That's a tragedy what's going on over there. We just, sometimes we get lost into, or at least I can speak for myself, sometimes I get lost in these articles and talk about something like it's a story. Like you read, Alexandre Dumas, the Three Musketeers, or I don't know, something like that. And you think like it's like a story, but you don't realize, okay, that was a story over there. This is real life with people who really are right now alive as we are. And I'm reading these things. Sometimes you forget that it's sad. It's very sad. And again, I'm talking about something that is horrible for some people, and you can try to put yourself in those people's shoes, but we will never be able to really live it until we, and I hope that never happens to anyone, to be in those circumstances. And people are. And I'm not talking about the Russians or the Ukrainians, any kind of human being, any human being. So Kherson has been in Russian hands since the early days for the nearly 8-month-long war in Ukraine. The city is the capital of a region of the same name, one of 4 the Russian President Vladimir Putin illegally annexed last month and put under Russian martial law on Thursday. On Friday, Ukrainian forces bombarded Russian positions across the province, targeting pro-Kremlin forces resupply routes crossing the Dnieper River and preparing for a final push to reclaim the city. The Ukrainian military has reclaimed broad areas in the north of the region since launching a counteroffensive in late August. It reported new successes Saturday, saying that Russian troops were forced to retreat from the villages of Charivne and Chkalove in the Berislav district. Russian installed officials were reported as trying desperately to turn Kherson city, a prime objective for both sides because of its key industrial and ports, into a fortress while attempting to relocate tens of thousands of residents. Relocate them where? You're going to relocate them? You have housing anywhere? You got winter's coming, ladies and gentlemen. The Kremlin poured as many as 2,000 draftees into the surrounding region to replenish losses and strengthen frontline units, according to the Ukrainian Army's General Staff. That's bad. The wide Dnieper River figures as a major factor in the fighting, making it hard for Russia to supply its troops defending the city of Kherson and nearby areas of the West Bank after relentless Ukrainian strikes rendered the main crossing unusable. Taking control of Kherson has allowed Russia to resume fresh water supplies from the Dnieper to Crimea, which were cut by Ukraine after Moscow annexation of the Black Sea Peninsula. A big hydroelectric power plant upstream from Kherson city is a key source of energy for the southern region. Ukraine and Russia accused each other of trying to blow it up to flood the mostly flat region. Kherson Kremlin-backed authorities previously announced plans to evacuate all Russia's appointed officials and as many as 60,000 civilians across the river in what local leader Vladimir Saldo said would be an organized gradual displacement, end quote. Another Russia-installed official estimated Saturday that around 25,000 people from across the region had made their way over the Dnieper. Is the mass media saying that in the Western countries? Is it a tragedy or what? Or it's not a tragedy because they're the bad dudes, so their lives are not as important as, I don't know, let's say Biden's, which obviously... Anyway, and we have in a Telegram post, Kirill Strematsutov claims that civilians were relocating willingly. And I'm quoting, "People are actively moving because today the priority is life. We do not drag anyone anywhere," he said, adding that some residents could be waiting for the Ukrainian army to reclaim the city. Ukrainian and Western officials have expressed concern about the potential forced transfer of residents to Russia or Russian-occupied territory. Ukrainian officials urged Kherson residents to resist attempts to relocate them, with one local official alleging that Moscow wanted to take civilians hostage and use them as human shields. Not impossible, but coming from the Ukrainians and the Western countries, that's laughable. Elsewhere in the invaded country, hundreds of thousands of people in the central and western Ukraine woke up on Saturday to power outages and periodic bursts of gunfire. So what's going on here? People will have a rough time, but what are you gonna do? If you stay there, the Ukrainians will come and they will. Don't think that they will come and say, "Hey, how are you doing? Thank you very much for staying. You're back to our loving country, and we love you. Here is about $500 for the next 30 days." Or you can, what can I do with the money if there's no products to buy? So I don't know. 60,000 people going over, and 20,000 or whatever they already did. That's a disaster over there. It's not because now it's the Russians or whomever, but remember, those guys who come over come with a vengeance. They don't come over there to take care of your pain and all that. No, they come with a vengeance. So there's going to be mass killings. I foresee that. Why? Because we're dealing with human beings, and those guys are very upset. So they will claim you are a collaborator. You are a collaborator. Do you think they're going to come and say, "Well, reconciliation"? Nah. But that's a tragedy over there. And what I'm surprised is, okay, you're losing, obviously, you're retreating according to these guys. So what are you going to do? I'm talking about the Russians. Is there anything you can do about it? What are you going to do? More war, more destruction, more killings. Well, as I said, it's sad because we just, not only hear these things, but people have tragedies right now in their lives, and unfortunately, these tragedies are created by other people who don't give a fuck about them. That's, you can take that to the bank, and they have bigger interests, and we're just so dispendable. And anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth and be just.